Good evening, everybody. This is South Mississippi Sasquatch Research Encounters, and we're talking about today what we call boogers down south. We will be detailing about how they look, different characteristics, and some of the abilities that we believe they possess. Here with me today is my fellow researcher, and we're going to be talking about things that we see. All right. Before you on this picture is what we call a booger, aka Sasquatch, Almanasty, however you want to call them. But they don't all look like what you might typically see on TV in the Northwest. These down here are some are taller, they're more slender build, and some are hairless, like this picture you see before you. This guy is in one of our areas. As you can tell, he's hairless. He doesn't have any hair on his body. All right, and the ones mainly that we see, or we encountered first, what you would say, the juveniles.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I'm gonna have him detail some of the things that he has seen also. So starting out, what first led you to believe that what was going on was Sasquatch wise or either booger wise?
For me, I never knew about boogers or anything, what they call them down here in the South, I guess. But what started for me was I just happened to cross over into a field on my property next door, I guess, and I discovered like a teepee structure, and I realized that this wasn't just a natural feature, and that's what led me to believe that something must be going on back here,
Yeah, I remember when we was going out looking around, and the day we got growled at, and
Yeah.
that smell, and mostly that day. You remember when he was, I would say guess about maybe 15, 20 feet in front of us. That heavy breathing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember. It sounded like he was smoking cigarettes all week. Yeah, but it didn't too much dawn on us that what was actually going on till we kept going and reaching out to different people and different investigators that help us along the way, and we started just coming up in our own way of things to do. And my screen cut out there, and so we just started going out because we kind of figured the things that we were seeing that somebody else around had to be seeing it.
Right. Yeah.
But so far we haven't. We have even seen them when they'll be right there in front of you 1 minute, and poof, they like disappear right in front of your face.
Right. Actually, it's kind of like they evaporate right in front of your eyes. While you're standing there watching them. The scene changes into something different. And they're no longer there.
Correct. And some people always try to say they're interdimensional, which to each his own, that belief, but I don't believe that. I do believe they possess powers that we don't have. I do believe that, and because they can put things in your head, make you see things,
Right.
make you feel things. Just like with me, I would say I can see them. I can like point them out in a picture. I can point them out even just standing there in the bushes. I can just see them, and and with him, it's like I had to let him discuss what he have going on with him.
Well, for me, I can see them too. I think you can see them better than I can. What we call your booger vision, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. For me, it's more like I hate to say it, but I kind of feel like sometimes I get in tune with them, I guess. And
Yeah.
I guess I kind of get like little tidbits of information every now and then. That's what I'll call it.
Yeah. And to me, the most valuable piece of information that he have gotten from his day vision. I call him day vision because he be awake when it happened. We still haven't figured that one out yet. But when they told him what they were, or actually what they're called, and the difference in between them and what they say was the ancient ones.
Right. Yeah.
And with that name, we looked that name up. How was that name pronounced?
I can't remember that.
Manisposa, something like that.
Yeah, something to that effect. Yeah.
But they said it with clicks and pops. That it's kind of hard with their language, what they said it in.
Yeah.
And they said they're more friendlier than what they call the ancient ones, who really don't like humans, don't know how to do with us, which is true, because over the last couple of years, we noticed a rotation pattern in between roughly 3 to 4 months.
Right.
A new group will come into the area and a group will leave out, and each group look different and act differently. Some had ability that was far greater than others, and some look different. I mean, it's look different. We had some which we dub like can't get right. One we call can't get right. He sits in one spot, pops, make noises. He wants you to know he there.
Yeah.
And he looks straight like he have Down syndrome.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Cracking the branches, cracking the leaves. And he's usually probably maybe 200 feet
Yeah, 200.
from my back porch.
Yeah.
And I can always hear him, and he's always letting me know he's there.
Yeah. I remember the day. I always say I remember when he first we saw one that night that stood up and slid behind a tree, and he asked me. He said, "Man, why y'all it don't bother you?" I said, "Well, when the day comes when they do bother me, you need to go ahead and leave because I'm running." So we always joke when we go out, man, what will we do one day when one just walk out in front of us? No,
right.
What will we do? And that day came.
Yes, it did.
That day came. I was walking, through the area, going down the path like we normally do. We were just talking, and what caught our eye? First we heard this noise. We started a juvenile. We started him, and he was like, made awk, awk, awk. He was like, awk, awk, awk.
Right.
And we looked around. Everybody saw something different. At first, we saw a cougar. You want to say a little cougar or a mountain lion, how you want to call it. Look.
Yeah.
And then I saw what looked like a little fox. And then while I was paying attention to the fox, out the corner of my eye, I caught something slithering. And I kept staring at it. I was like asking myself, what am I looking at here? And this was no more than about what?
It was on the ground.
It was on the ground.
Crawling on all fours.
So it had to be about maybe 15, 20 feet maybe?
In front, actually I was in front of you, so it was about 5 to 10 feet in front of me.
So yeah, and I was right behind you, so I'd say about 10, 15 feet maybe.
Yeah.
And this thing come out, slithering, crawling on all fours.
From the bushes.
Out the bushes. I'm looking at it like, what am I looking at? Because the hair on it kind of like caught me. It was mesmerizing because it was so shiny. It was long, so shiny and pretty, like it just went to a beautician every day of his life. That's what it looked like to me. And it slithered out. I say slithered. It did what we call spider walk, or walk like a salamander almost.
Yeah.
And it was so smooth and graceful. He come out, stuck his it was skinny. It was skinny like it was a juvenile. And you see these big fists at the end of this scrawny arm.
Yeah.
Hits the ground, and he scoops and slides his butt and feet up underneath him and turns and spread our way out. She spread out, arms out, almost like a spider, and just popped his head up. You talking about freak me out.
Yep.
I just turned around and, like they say, put boots on ground. Well, my boots was on fire because I was moving. He had he had a round face, smooth round face. It was kind of like golden, like
Yeah.
blondish gold looking.
Yeah, that's it.
And he had the big eyes, and it looked kind of like alien like.
It was
Yeah,
not something from here, I would say.
yeah, no.
Or at least that's what it looked like to us
Yeah.
at that time.
It looked like something from something you would see on a movie.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I gathered myself, but it took a couple hours. I still didn't want to go back in because I was still trying to collect my thoughts and see, ask myself, did I see what I really saw? And he was in front of me, so he saw it as well.
Yeah.
So that day was pretty much over with for me.
Right.
And we left out of that day. And what else happened that day? A lot of things happened that day. You was filming on your phone, and everything looked kind of blurry, like cartoonish.
Right. Yeah.
And we had something little. We dubbed the Muppets. It looked like little Muppets. There was juveniles, but there was like sitting on a log, just swinging their feet, like
Dangling his feet.
yeah, like he was eating candy, watching a movie. I
Right.
guess looking at us run.
Right. Yeah.
And I had something directly behind me that shook me even more. Cause it whistled. When it whistled in my ear, it was piercing. Like this thing was like, if I was to turn around, I'll be looking right at his face.
Yeah.
And that day kind of changed me a lot. That day, I said, well, okay, they can read our thoughts. Cause we had just said, what will we do if something walk out in front of us? And I guess they figured out, well, we're gonna see what they'll do. Yeah, freak out. That's what we did. Freaked out. Well, at least I know I did. I know I did. And that's just one of the encounters we have had. We also had them push a tree over. You remember that day when they pushed the tree? Will you
Yes.
tell me about that day?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
You want to tell them about that day?
Well, like I said, just sitting on my back porch. I guess I was grilling that evening, and like I said, this fence line is maybe about 200 feet from my back porch, where that property is, where all the action happens. And like I said, I'm just sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear this whole entire tree fall down back there, hit the ground. And it hit the ground so hard it shook the steps that I was sitting on at my house on my back porch. And after the tree falls, you hear the rumbling, rustling, and everything. And I actually hear the tree getting dragged off into the forest, into the woods, a little bit further back. And as I'm looking, I don't see anything. And that was one of the most scariest moments I ever had, though, because I saw it. Well, I didn't see it. I heard it and felt it. That was just enough for me. And,
Yes, it was.
yeah.
And a lot of people always like to talk about the other one, the dog man. I can't say for sure it's a canine, because we have seen many different looking ones that have snout, pointed ears. They look kind of like a bear person. And we have seen one that looks like a dog.
Yep.
Even on the video, we seen one I put out a few weeks ago on the site, and it was sitting there in the brush, camouflage, looking like a tree, and you can see it. We call him Scar. We call him Scarface, because we ran into that individual years ago, a couple years. He was younger. He was smaller. He didn't have that scar on his face yet. So we kind of figured, as you can tell, I'm just scrolling through here. I'm gonna play a video or two while we're talking, that you see how we, our area and little things that tad bit of little things there. And he didn't bother us though. He did not try to bother us. He didn't bother us whatsoever. He didn't bother us at all. What I'm playing is a video from if you pay attention to this video closely, you will see a lot of things in the background, which are boogers. Pay attention to lights, eyes reflecting, movement, anything of that nature while we talk.
Yeah, dark spots.
Um, but yeah, I kind of figured he was like maybe I would say the warrior because like most Native American tribes have warriors, braves, and he's one of many because we have seen several before that. Just like the guy.
Yeah, we've seen him with the turtle shells on top of their head.
Yeah, wearing a turtle shell on top of his head.
Bone masks.
The bone mask.
Or twig.
Or twig. I remember the day you asked me that. You asked me, you said, hey man, do you think they wear twig masks? I'm like, no, I don't think so. Never saw that. Then a couple weeks later, a couple months later actually, we saw it.
Yeah.
We saw it, I was like, well, they do it. He had a turtle shell on his head. One had a cow skull over his face, constructed as a mask.
And deer antlers.
We had one that wears a deer skull on the head, and he got deer antlers. And he's very powerful. He can do some things. That guy there is dangerous. That's the one that pretty much bothers us. I think out of all the encounters we have, that guy there bothers us the most because he seemed like the strongest.
Right.
For as strongest, what I mean is more because the infrasound power, the electromagnetic fields that he put out, they do generate electromagnetic pulses. That's why sometimes in pictures and videos you might see everybody say, oh, that's just another blurry picture of a Sasquatch. There's a reason why it's blurry. They transmit electromagnetic waves out and they disrupt all digital cameras. And they will. It's ways that you can see them. It's ways you can see them, but I'm not really going to share that information at this time. But it's ways you can see them with the devices. And it's ways you can catch them on game camera also. We tried trial and error with the game camera, having them come up, take our game camera, run across the field, go other places with the game camera, and bring it back.
And bring it back just exactly the way we put it.
Just the way we put it.
Yeah.
And once you go over the footage on it, you will see that they actually indeed take it because you will see the camera come off, it falls down, you see taking video of the sky and the leaves, right. And you see in each frame, you will see it running. What I mean by you won't see the individual, but you'll see his hand. His hand was over the lens.
The thumb, I believe.
The thumb, you see the ridges on his fingers, big thumb going through it.
Right.
We also have had them at nighttime. You shine a light on them, there's nothing there. Take the light off, it's something there. You shine a light on him again, he cutting up and there's nothing there. Never figured that one out yet. But light, they do absorb light during the day. That's why you might see them. They might look like a shadow or whatever because they get power from everything around them, all energy. They get energy from the trees, the ground, the sun to power up.
And they know how to use it.
They know how to use it well. They have mastered the art of using all energy. Also, if you notice, a lot of people always want to see them, want to have a good encounter. It's no such thing as a good encounter. You don't dictate that. They dictate that. You might catch one having a bad day, then your day is going bad.
Definitely.
You can't run, you can't hide from these guys. They know you there before you even know you getting there.
Right.
They are everywhere. You might see one, but you don't see the other 10. That's how they go. And for us, the dog man being aggressive, we have seen a lot of people you hear tell the dog man don't like Sasquatch or this and that, vice versa. Even they had back in the days, the Native American, the Chickasaw Indians actually had stolen some bones from the Sasquatch and put them in dog man territory to get the Sasquatch to go to war with the dog man to get rid of them because they was killing all the braves when they go out to deer hunt. In our area, we noticed that dog man and Sasquatch hang together, live together, and also breed together.
Right.
Because we have seen them with pointed ears and round heads. They might have snouts, which a lot of people say it's the baboon, like the baboon type look with the snout. Before seeing a tail or bent legs, nah, haven't seen it. So if somebody's seeing it, I'm not saying that they're not seeing it. I'm just saying we haven't seen it.
Right.
We haven't seen it. In this picture here, you can see, I can get it to come up. As you can see, this fella here that's in the circle, he's wearing a turtle shell, like I described before. As you can see, this guy here, he's hairless. He looks something like an ogre. The majority of them are hairless, give or take a few that's not hairless, give or take.
And who's to say it's not really an ogre?
Yep. No one knows that. No one knows if it's what they are or who they are. They do communicate.
Absolutely, yeah.
They have language. They have language.
Sounds like jibber jabber to most people, gibberish or whatever, but it's got a pattern to it. You can tell it's got a pattern to it. We haven't figured it out yet. But
Nope. Haven't figured it out yet, but we plan on it. And they do understand English very well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
They understand.
We've actually had them mocking us,
Yep.
on
the recorder. You remember when I had one out there that sounded like me and laughed like me? That was scary.
Yeah.
That was scary. That was scary. For a while, I would go out there and say my name is such and such. Tell them my name, and I'll whistle. And one day we put the recorder out in the woods. Got them saying my name is, which was my name, and it whooped after that. Then it laughed. Then we had the mechanical sound, sounding like a robot, which we haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah, I still don't know what that was.
No.
Yeah.
And they if you ever get close to them, you can hear them vibrate. They vibrate. It sounds like a million bees buzzing. But it's just them vibrating, and all the energy coming off of them will make you feel sick. That's why a lot of people feel like I'm getting zapped. Actually, you getting caught in that radio, that RF frequency that they're communicating with, which is actual radiation. They give you the same effects that you would get if you get exposed to radiation. The same exact thing. And it makes you feel sick, nauseated, dizziness, headache. Depending on how bad it is, you're going to have a stupor for a couple of days. Almost like you just got whacked over the head with a hammer. Yeah. They follow you. They got to know what you're doing at all times. They always want to know what you're doing.
Very nosy.
Very nosy. Peeking in windows. I think that's mainly the juveniles just come around and like peeking in your windows, playing tricks on you. You want to tell them about the time they run up behind you, growling behind your ear, and all the little tricks they play on you while you're at the house?
Well, yeah, in the beginning when we first started doing this, at my own home, most likely grilling in the evening like I usually do, you can hear them running up. Well, I can feel them and hear them running up behind me, and then I turn around, there's nothing there. And within just like half a second, I should have been face to face with somebody behind me, but nothing there. And I remember there was one time I was out on my front porch, sitting on the steps, and smoking a cigarette like I always do, and I heard this growl right from my left ear. It was right behind me, which was impossible because my door is right behind me, but I heard the growl, a very large, loud growl right behind me with my left ear. It scared the crap out of me, and I ran straight inside. But to this day, I can't explain what that was or how that happened right behind me, but it's always it's like they're playing a game or something. Some of them like they're playing a
Yeah.
game or something. I guess I don't know. They're just messing with me. I guess I don't know, but sometimes it can be really creepy, you know. And you just gotta hang it up. That's enough for me. Go back inside and don't come back out no more. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you were sitting back there one day.
Yeah. I was sitting back there and I was doing the crazy thing. I guess he was pissed off I was doing it. I heard them tapping, which in the tapping, it's something like Morse code. If you sit there and listen to it long enough, you can get the rhythm down, and it's a language. So I started mimicking it, kept tapping the same exact way. So I guess he got mad. First, he threw something and it hit me like a little rock or something. I'm like, that was odd. So I kept on doing it, and then out of nowhere, something ran up behind me. I'm talking about inches. I jumped up, and when I turned around, you can see the bushes moving like it ran away. This was just what, about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. It was dark.
Yeah, yeah.
Needless to say, I stopped it. I stopped the tapping that night.
Also, that time we were sitting out on the back porch, and you heard that one run up behind you on the side of the house.
Yeah.
While you were sitting down.
Yeah, he ran on the side of the house, and we jump up, instantly run there. It's not there. It's like he just poof,
Yeah,
disappeared.
you jumped up, and I heard it coming, and I jumped up when you jumped up, and we both looked up on the side of the house, nothing there.
Nothing there.
Within just half a second. We should have been staring dead at it, but
Yep.
nothing there.
Wasn't nothing there. Like the time you was going out to put the record out that night, and the little guy was in the tree shaking the tree on you.
Oh yeah.
You want to talk about that one?
That was crazy. Let's see, I was going out to put the recorder out that night, and over there at my neighbor's house, I noticed this tree. It just kind of was shaking or vibrating real weirdly, oddly, like it just wasn't right, you know, and it just kept going on and on and on until I finally said, okay, well, I'll go over here and take a look. As I'm walking over there, the tree shakes real hard and real violent. I mean, this tree is maybe about maybe 10 feet tall, I guess,
Yeah.
something like that. The whole entire tree was shaking and vibrating real violently, like something was actually there shaking it and almost pulling it out of the ground, off the roots or whatever. And once that happened, that was enough for me. I hauled ass back to my house, ran. I think I threw the recorder.
Yeah,
dropped it somewhere. and I think later, eventually, I went back and got the recorder. You know, but that was, I don't know. I guess I saw that as like a warning: get away from here or something.
Yeah.
Don't come over here or whatever. I really don't know what it was, but it was real violent, and I knew I needed to get out of there.
Yes, indeed. It's things they do that we don't understand. You know.
Yeah.
We knew. We're trying to figure this out. We only been doing it what?
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Yeah.
And we come close to figuring out a whole lot of stuff. We have figured out a lot of stuff. Well, it's like we're going backwards, basically. We started out seeing signs, following them, seeing them,
Right.
and now we're at the point of trying to figure out what they are and their abilities. Like, you put the recorder out, you always get a lot of static on it. It's electromagnetic static. You know, we tried 2 different recorders, and it's the same thing. It's like we call it booger wind. It sounds like wind. It picks up and it goes. It picks up and die down. Picks up and die down. You can hear them running with the recorder. They go all over, everywhere with the recorder. It's like they taking it on a tour,
Yeah. Right.
letting us know exactly where all they went.
It's not always like off in the woods or somewhere. It may be like at my neighbor's house, 2 or 3 houses down, or
Yeah.
people in behind me or something like that. But you can hear, you can hear those people's vehicles running or starting up, or things that I know are at my neighbor's house. You know, you can hear it on the recorder. You know, and I put the recorder out on my porch. You know, and why is it way 3 houses? How did he get 3 houses down that night? And you can hear everything that's going on over there. You can hear the neighbor's dogs barking. There was a couple of times that I figured they were right there in the neighbor's pen with the dogs. Mimicking the dogs. Sounded like they were mimicking the dogs, and you can tell there's a difference between them and what the actual dogs sound like. And that happened quite a few times.
All right, we're going to talk about this photo right here. This photo right here, guys, is what some say is a dog man. We call it a snouted baboon type Sasquatch / booger. That's what we call him. As you notice, just on this picture, he was in the bush. You can see his feet. He's sitting down on the inside of the tree. You see his feet propped up. Not dog feet, but human feet. He got human feet here. He got human hands. And you can see his hardware. You can see his mouth open, his slanted eyes, and he got ears. And you see his teeth. Right next to him, I say it's his big brother. He the same way. He just standing there off in the distance, staring. You can see his snout, the eyes, and everything. It does not have a tail. I have not yet seen one with a tail. Haven't. So I'm not saying that people are not seeing something out there that looks like that. I'm just saying we haven't seen it. And pretty much they are the same everywhere. We went to several different areas around here, and we have found them close to people. Very close to people. Very close. So you don't necessarily have to go deep in the forest to look for them. Because chances are, when you go deep in the forest looking for them, you're going to have a bad encounter. Because they don't want to be bothered by humans. That's why they so far out. The ones that you see next to people, they more interacting with people. They used to seeing people, so they don't too much bother them. But they'll still let you know when it's time to get on.
Right.
We haven't got rocks thrown at us. We haven't got chased out. Not yet. It's all about your vibration. It's all about your well-being in a whole. It's just everything about. They know good people and bad people. They can feel your vibe. They can see your energy. We go out without weapons because we're not trying to harm them, and we don't want them to see us as a threat. We don't gift. You see people going out putting out peanut butter, putting out food, putting out things. No, you're asking for trouble.
Right.
Because what's gonna happen that day that you don't have that out there no more? Now you got an angry booger on your hands.
Right.
That's when you get your house slapped.
Yeah, and I have to live there, so
yeah, you got
gifting.
No, you get your house slapped. You get stuff torn up. You get your dog ripped apart because he's angry because he can't get that Snicker bar that you leave for him twice a day, every day for the last month. But now you're not putting it out there.
Yeah.
And then you go out there. Then by you doing that, you're trying to keep them to an area so for your gratification, so you can see them. That's not natural. Let them go about their day. If they want to interact with you, they will. If they don't want to, you know what I'm saying, they'll let you know they don't want to talk to you or see you or do anything with you because they will run you off.
Yep.
Just point blank period. This is just a trial area here we're trying to do here. And just going to conclude our next segment. We probably have more videos and more stuff to talk about. Depending on the review of this, if we do another one tonight, it will get better in the beginning. Everything will get better.
Absolutely.
Until then, y'all stay safe.